come on, please. Just come and encourage the people.
Okay.
And I want to thank pastors today for inviting me and trusting me to speak to her in the lives of her friends. And I want to thank friends for allowing me to speak into your lives. I have been through the journey of rebuild, restore, and recover. And in that journey, I learned that hope is good. Keep hope alive.
Amen.
My name is Candie, Zenon. I'm an author and a life coach. And in my journey to rebuild, to recover, I did learn that hope is good. Keep hope alive. And I love that call and response. I'm from the old school. I hear a lot of Baptists in here. I grew up in a Baptist church. So when I say hope is good, I want you to say keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Hope is good?
Keep hope alive.
All right, just testing y'all. Well, in 2003, I had moved from Texas to Louisiana. I had divorced, and a lot of drastic changes had taken place. I was now a single parent of 3 children. I was now a one-income household. And I did accept a job, but although I accepted a job, the job paid me a whole lot less than I was originally making. And I don't know if y'all know about Louisiana. They had, at the time, they had a lower paying scale than a lot of the other states. But somehow, I managed to say and focus that everything was going to be all right. What about that hope? Hope is good, huh? You left me. Hope is good.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. So then payday came, and I was able to see $9.25 on a paper times 80 hours, and I panicked. I was like, surely this is a bonus check, right? The real check coming before lunchtime, but that was the real thing. And I said, how in the world I'm going to pay all my responsibilities? And I hadn't even factored in groceries. So, like I said, I panicked, and I went to apply for assistance. I went ahead and I went to the welfare office, I applied for food stamps. And I brought in my papers, I handed all of the papers, and the worker was saying, okay, she looked through everything, and she got to my pay stub. And her whole facial disposition changed. I said, I know that's right, girl. That's what I said too. Right? How in the world they want people to live off of this? And she was like, no. I make $8.35 an hour. You should be able to live off of this. This office can't help you. You make too much money. I said, really? Because I read the poverty guidelines before I entered. And by $1.35, I made it through. So by chance, somebody handed me $1.35, she couldn't help me. But I don't have that dollar, nor that 35 cents. So I'm going to need that help. She was like, this office can't help you. I said, you're right. I said, I'm going to accept your prophecy instead of the office handout. And I said that I'm going to leave out with this prophecy. And I walked out in righteous rage. Say, God, this is the test. Because I'm not like David. I have never seen a righteous forsaken nor a seed beg for bread. This is your test, God, to feed me and my family. And I left. I went to go pick up my children from my mom. And in the corner, in the box, they had some canned goods. And I said, well, what are those? She said that some canned goods that she didn't want that the church had passed out. And I asked, can I have them? And she said she didn't care. So I went and I reached down to pick up the canned goods out of the box. And tears of hot disbelief started to roll down my cheeks. And my mind started filling with questions. How did I get here? How did I get here back in my home state of Louisiana? How did I get here? Divorced, single mama of 3, making $9.25 an hour. How did I get here? Now picking out canned goods out of the box, earmarked for the needy. I didn't explain to my mom what was going on. I thanked her for the canned goods. I thanked her for babysitting. And we left. Me and my crew was out. It's me, crew, and Jesus. Just like Elijah had to tell his servant. He said, God, please open his eyes and see that there's more for us than against us.
Hallelujah.
So we went home. I look at the canned goods and, how many of us could get just real creative with stuff? I grabbed them canned goods. I took some tomato sauce, some salmon, and I caramelized some onions and green onions. And I made what we call coubillon on the top of a fresh bed of hot rice and a side of sweet peas. And that day, I served everybody. My daughter said grace, the one that's holding the camera. She always said grace. That's my youngest. And when she finished and said amen, I kept my head down. And I said an extra prayer. And I said, God, please quickly develop their taste buds to eat the salmon and make them full. So that night, the greatest words wasn't your application was approved. The greatest words wasn't, Mama, I love you. The greatest words that night was, Mama, I'm full. Mama, I'm full. So I washed my babies, I bathed them, we said our prayers, I put them to bed. And how many of y'all know once I shut that door, I went to war? Because I was mad at Satan for trying to define me by my circumstances. Because I know who I am. I am a child of God. I'm a minister of God. I'm an heir of God. A joint heir with Christ Jesus. And I went to the deep freezer. And I plugged it back. I had the unmitigated galls to plug it back because it was empty. And I said, every day you will fill up with choice meats. I went to the cabinets, every day you would have fine oils. I went to the refrigerator, I said you would be filled with fresh vegetables. I went to the table and you would have fresh fruits on these tables and these cabinets. I went to that mailbox and I said, I don't know who was the prior tenant, but I'm here to introduce myself. I'm Candie Zenon. I am the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath. I'm a treasure of God. My worth is far greater than rubies. My God cared for my cares. And I'm calling in checks in the mail, lost money found, bills decreased and paid off, interest and income, rebates and returns, discounts and dividends. Money coming to me now in Jesus' name. Not a day you come up empty. Not a day you come up void. Money come now in Jesus' name. That morning I started off and I cried. But that night I went to sleep with hope. Hope is good. Keep hope alive. I went to sleep hopeful, knowing that my God will not leave me. He knew He will not forsake me. He will always be there for me. I say, God, this is your test. But how many of you know the test was on me? The test was on me not only to trust. It was not only to believe. But the test was not only to trust and believe, but do some practical housekeeping. Amen. He said in Psalms 38:21, the wicked borrow and pay not. I had to pull my credit report. Because surely not me and my Elizabethan English, I'm not wicked. But I owed some people. And I had to pay them. And those I didn't owe on that credit report, I had to dispute it. I had to create a budget and a spending plan. And these things that I'm mapping out right now, I'm teaching this on a Thursday night, a virtual workshop on how to take housekeeping inventory of your own household. You need to know, because there's dignity in knowing how much it costs to run your household. There's dignity when you're able to go to the register and buy what you need for you and your children and your household. There's dignity in not in praying that the debit card will go through. Because you know in your knower what you have. And because how many of you know if your upkeep, if your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep become your downfall. The righteous of God. In the homes of the righteous of God, there are many rooms of choice, meats and oils. And we have to represent. So I stopped staying up late at night and buying off of infomercials. I started grocery shopping off a list and stopped impulse buying. And I kept being consistent with what God had for me and what God needed me to do. And break paradigms and cycles and patterns of belief and traditions that keep us bound by the Nemos spirit. Round and round you go. Nobody, where she stopped, nobody knows. Keep going in famine to feast and famine to feast. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Peter tired. Get your own money. Do what you need to do. God give us creative knowledge to gain wealth. Tap into what he's giving you to gain the wealth that you need in order to take care of what you need to take care of. We all have it. Yes, we do go to jobs. And yes, they do supply us of our needs temporarily, but they're not the source. That's why we get so broken, indifferent, and damaged when we lose them. Why? Because there was a job. That wasn't the work that God called you to. God has called you to a work. And who better to ask what that work he has called you to than him? He created you.
Yes.
When we look at the manuals of the manufacturer of something that we need to fix, we don't go to a Toyota manufacturer manual to fix a Lexus. We go to the source of the maker. Sing with us. Let's go to the maker. What is the work you have called me to do?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. And that's the hope. Hope, nothing less. But Jesus Christ and his righteousness. He's good, y'all. He's good. Everything we're praying for, everything we're asking him for, it's already in us. Y'all remember that Ragu commercial? When Mama Ragu used to make that spaghetti sauce? And the commercial always say what? It's in there. It's in there. It's already in you. Sometimes we look for outside things outside of us to encourage us, to inspire us. David encouraged himself. And I love when you said, Pastor, David recovered all. I've read that story time and time again. But this is the first time I heard that was the original No Child Left Behind. George Bush didn't create that. God had already created that. No child left behind. Everything you need is inside of you. If you don't know, ask. God can handle questions. He said in Jeremiah 33:3, call out unto me. Ask me, seek, knock. He even said, test me in Malachi. He can handle your questions. Find out the work that he has for you. So one day we was grocery shopping. Well, this one particular time I remember passing by the room going into the kitchen, and in my peripheral I seen my middle baby like to get a stool. She probably reached me under my knee, but the stool was bigger than her. She used to get this stool and she'll push it to the table, and she'll feed the youngest one a grape. She'll feed the youngest one a grape. She'll eat a grape. She'll feed the youngest one a grape. She'll eat the grape. Y'all remember that prophecy? Y'all remember that prayer? I said that table was going to be filled with fresh fruit. Amen. Thank you, sister. Hope is good. Keep hope alive. Hope is good.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. So one day we were grocery shopping, and I went to open up the deep freezer, and I had to jump back because frozen meat had fell and almost hit my toe. And so I had to jump back, and simultaneously when I opened up the deep freezer, the frozen meat fell to the floor, and I had to jump back. And I realized then I was in overflow.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I just wanted to say, hope is good.
Keep hope
Keep
alive.
hope alive. God is always with you. He cares for your cares. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Hope is good. Hope is good. Hallelujah. One part I just want you to note is that she went from minimum to maximum. She went from barely